Hi, I'm Anand Padmanabhan, the Global Chief Technology Officer for Whittle School and Studios, and I'm here with
Rich Cooter, the lower school and middle school division head for Whittle School and Studios in Shenzhen, China.
this is a short video of our experience in setting up an online learning environment for our Shenzhen campus. We have some pointers which we think would be helpful for you as you're thinking of setting up an environment like this in your campus.
And one of the first things we want you to think about is that your context matters. Everything that we present here occurred in our context, and it's important for you to consider the lessons that we're talking about and how they can apply and be translated into your context. So let me begin by just saying that we're planning on going on vacation on January 19th in our Shenzhen campus to celebrate a wonderful holiday in China, the Chinese New Year, and a time when family and friends go home and travel. And we are still at this point, many weeks later, not on campus, but recognize that our school needs to provide education to children, and learning must go forward.
And this made us start thinking about should we create an environment that's medium term, a short term, or a long term.
And so we wanted to really make sure that we were investing in the right ways. So we knew that our environment was going to be a little bit more of a long-term solution. So we did invest more heavily on the front end in terms of what we wanted training for teachers to be and students. We did not have the advantage of having sometimes to train teachers and train with teachers and students live, but we did do everything online. We also thought about the fact that, should all subjects be taught? And we made the decision that all subjects would be taught. They might be taught in slightly different ways, but even our physical education department, our music department, and our art department provide either synchronous or asynchronous instruction on a regular basis to our students.
Which brings us to start thinking about, in a general way, what are the different things that we should have in place, like policies and procedures?
And most of the policies and procedures are pretty straightforward. You'll have to dust off your acceptable use forms, but things you might not think about are things like creating online behavioral norms and expectations for students, or netiquette. What are acceptable ways of communicating online, using chat rooms and so forth, especially as you move into asynchronous learning. All of these things we argue and would say should be scaffolded for students, not all introduced all at one time, but something that you do over time.
And support, guidance, and assistance are equally important as you look at it holistically. I mean, even simple things like communication between leadership and the teachers, or between leadership and the school head, the department heads, or the school heads. So having a clear picture and guidance on how these things are set up is very important. Also, to think about online learning versus in-classroom learning. I mean, the pedagogy is completely different in an online learning environment, and technology kind of is an important component in this case to make this whole learning experience successful.
Yeah, and I think one of the pieces that we sat down and deliberately considered was what things happen in a bricks and mortar environment that we want to have occur in an online environment. Anything from obviously teaching and learning with students, but also things like department meetings and heads of grade meetings and all of those other things that actually help you stay organized and stay together and on the same page. So you want to create as many of those kinds of opportunities as is absolutely possible.
And in this case, we also want to make sure that the synergy between the academic departments and the IT department is very, very crucial. To make this whole thing successful, both the groups have to work very closely together so that that at the end of the day, the experience for the teachers and the students are super.
And one of the things that we would recognize is that all learning needs to be scaffolded, especially this learning. Again, we did not have the benefit of working with our teachers beforehand. And even as we've reviewed it, and now I've seen many schools going through this, it may have been a benefit to not have the teachers with us because they had to plunge headfirst into the online environment. Every bit of training that we provided our teachers was through an online platform. That enabled us to scaffold it for them. We started with asynchronous instruction, and then we moved to synchronous instruction and added the video conference streaming elements and other ways that we could do instruction.
This slide shows one of our teachers with 3 of her students that she's interacting with using our synchronous platform. Also understanding, from your perspective, that there is enough support to help the teachers.
And one of the ways that we did that from an early stage is really an all-in approach. Everyone needs to be involved in the support of the effort. So every secretary, every paraprofessional, every type of teacher, a special education teacher, all kinds of teachers, whoever they may be in your district or in your school, need to be a part of this. And again, thinking about what happens in a bricks and mortar daily school routine can happen in some way in an online routine. It may just need to be thought about differently.
And making sure that the teachers have access to the learning applications that they need to. Sometimes the learning applications are tied to the school network, and how to make necessary arrangements so that both the teachers and students are able to access these applications from outside of the school network.
So success builds success. And we want our work that we're scaffolding with teachers and with students to start small and to grow. We started with our students just basic access to the systems, thinking about minimum device requirements. Our students did not necessarily have their school devices with them at home. Our older students did because they're allowed to take them home, but our devices in our school were kept, our one-to-one devices were kept in the school. So, we had to overcome those obstacles as well. And we also wanted to be very mindful of the fact that everyone was struggling with the coronavirus outbreak, an epidemic. And so there were also social and emotional implications. And so we wanted our counselors to be available, our guidance counselors. We wanted our teachers to be connected with students so that we could identify any problems. And similarly, we did the same thing for our teaching staff, providing them with counseling opportunities as needed. And again, our counselors for our students provided the teachers with the materials that they needed to help address those situations with their students. And we also enlisted parent support. Here you see a picture of a teacher video, and a father and a son are working together on the exercises. So we tried to enlist parent support as much as possible. For our youngest students, what we did was provide them with the information at least 24 hours in advance. So anything that needed to be printed or organized could be done that way. Obviously, our older students are much more independent. They required less parental oversight.
And having a good help desk for the parents as well, for the younger kids is important, so that some of the questions that they have can be addressed quickly and immediately.
We also got feedback constantly. So whether it was the parents or the teachers or the students, we created surveys and received feedback about what could be improved, what was working really well, and what the major pinch points were in our program.
And we hope that you found this video helpful. If you have questions, please contact us. Our contact information is on the screen. This is our first video. We will be creating a second video which will delve a little bit more deeper into some of the things that we have done to make this environment engaging and successful.
Thanks.
Thank you.